Alright, so in this video we're going to continue from where we left off. We are going to get rid of this line in here. This was a test to make sure that the Parse database system worked, and we tested it and it did, so I'm going to get rid of that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to create a second view controller. So we're going to go File, New, File, and make sure it's on Cocoa Touch class, hit Next. And we want it to be UI View Controller, and we'll call it Login View Controller. Make sure it's of type Swift, and we'll hit Next and create. Right, and so there it is, Login View Controller Swift. So let's go to the main storyboard, and now what we're going to do is create a new view controller. Drag and drop in a view controller in here, right? And what we want to do is have this. We need to give this view controller a ID, and we'll just give it the acronym LVC for Login View Controller, right? That's perfect there, and we want to select our new login view controller right there. All right, so that now this view controller is associated with this .swift file, right? And so just so we can tell we got the right thing here, let's put a couple of things on here. We'll put a label that says we'll say login, right? That over to the left here, and we're also going to create a few text fields. We're going to need a username and a password at a minimum. And when you actually create your account, you create it using a username, password, and email actually. So we'll put both of them. Okay, and I'm going to put in a placeholder. So we'll say username here, and clear when editing begins, so that as soon as you put a cursor in there, it'll clear it out. And I'm going to select that, hit Command D to duplicate it, and we'll do the same thing here, but we'll say password, right? And we'll duplicate it again, and we'll say we'll go with email, right? And so we have those three there, and now let's go ahead and we'll create a button. Okay, and we'll let this say submit, right? And so we want to create outlets and actions for all of these, right? So we're going to just create some space up here at the top, and create an outlet here. We'll call this label 1, and right here we'll just call this username, password, email. Email. All right, so these are all outlets, and right here though we're going to have an action, and we're going to call this one submit. All right, so that's our action, submit. All right, so let's get out of this. So I'm going to go back to our home screen here. We don't have anything on here, so I'm going to put a little label just so we can see that this is our home screen. Let's say home. I'm going to put another label out here, and we're going to call this status. And this is going to let us know whether we're logged in or not. And if we are logged in, it'll show us the username. Okay. So I'm going to drag over here, call it status, connect. Okay, and so let's do that next now. Let's take a look at the status here. So we're going to go into our view controller, and we don't have anything there because I took out that bit of code. All right, so I'm going to put in some code here, and I'll explain what's going on. So right here, this checks to get the current user information. This is kind of a built-in function in Parse, pfuser.currentUser. And then we check to see if that variable is not equal to nil. That means that there is a current user, and we will display that to the console. Eventually, we will display that to our label. Actually, we might as well just do that right now. We could just grab this, copy, and we'll say status.text equals, there you go. And so that's this line here will display that to the label. Now the else part means we're not logged in. So we actually have this printing out saying push view, and that's what it's going to do. It's going to push us over to the login screen and force us to log in, which is a nice feature that you can have so that no one can use certain features of your app unless they are logged in. All right, so I'm going to put some code in here which should allow this to push to the login screen. That's what this line does right here. It kind of sets up a second view controller variable and makes it equal to the login view controller view on the storyboard, and then navigates to it using this push view controller animated true. And this is pretty standard lines. As always, I'll provide all the code for you here. Before I could run this, I do need to go back into our storyboard and selecting our kind of home screen here. We're going to go to Editor, Embed in, Navigation Controller. This is only going to work if we have this embedded in a navigation controller. If you don't like the how the navigation controller throws this little top navigation thing at the top here, which is could sometimes be annoying if you want to control the look and feel of your screen. There's code that I can provide that how to make this disappear. But anyway, let's take a look when we run this. It should push us straight over since we are not logged in to the second view controller. Yep, and there it did. Pushed us right over to this view controller. And if we go home, it should. We can actually make this in the view did appear so that it continues to push us back. You should be able to hit that back button and have it stay there. I'll provide that code as well. We can use I think it's the view will appear method. So let's take care of that problem in which we are able to come back to the home screen. We don't want to be able to do that. So to do that, we're going to basically replicate what we did in the view did load in the method called view will appear, which when you come back to a screen, the view did load method does not always get called. Just the first time you go to a screen. So view will appear though does get called on that second time. So we're basically just replicating what we had in here in the view did load in this view will appear method. And actually we really should, anytime that we start replicating code, we should make another method. I'll do that right now called function check for user, right? And in that function, we'll just go ahead and grab this code, put it right in there, right? And we can actually get rid of, oh, forgot my open and close parentheses. We'll get rid of this code up here since we are using that already. And we're going to just say check for user. And we'll do the same thing right here, check for user. That consolidates your code. Anytime you start replicating code, you should create a method. All right, and so let's see how that looks when we run that. All right, so it pops us to our sign up screen. And if we hit back, yeah, it pops us right back. Perfect. That's what we wanted to do.